But anyway, my issue has been that I can't really let go of the whole God concept, even though my logic tells me that there isn't one. And I don't know if it's like a knee-jerk reaction, because I was raised with it in a really religious place, you know. So I have a really hard time. I really battle myself between letting go of that God concept, but I don't know why, but I can't say there's no God, even though everything in my head tells me there isn't.
So how does this manifest? I mean, do you find yourself praying reflexively or interpreting events as indications of divine influence, or what? How does this manifest?
It's more like if I'm actually talking to someone about religion or God, I always hesitate to say, well, do we really think there's really a God?
Uh-huh.
I don't really pray. I don't, like, when I'm driving down the street and the light turns green, I don't say, oh, thanks, God.
So you're just not, you don't feel comfortable saying it out loud to other people. Are you sure it's not just a social thing? Are you worried about their reaction if you were to say that?
Yeah, I mean, especially when I'm back home, and because...
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, and my brother-in-law went to seminary, which is ironic because he's the most unchristian person there is.
Well, what do you mean by that?
It's just that he's very judgmental. He's very, he doesn't treat people well. But
well, that doesn't sound unchristian at all.
Well, that's a good point. Okay, yeah. But, you know, it's very holier than thou, and like, oh, I'm better than you because I know the Bible or whatever, and I just kind of shake my head and,
well,
just
walk away. Right back at him. Tell him you're better than him because you don't. Yeah, you have every right to say that. You have as much right to say that as he does.
That's true, and
more because you've got, you know, a rational basis for your views, but at least as much.
Yeah, it's just like the longer time's gone by, and the more like education I've gotten, the more questions I've put out there, the more I've gone against everything that they're believing. But even like yesterday, I had, this is going to sound ridiculous, but I was getting my hair done and we talked about religion. And I had a really hard time saying, well, really, is there a God?
Did you say it or did you not say it?
I did, but it was like, because we were both saying it, but I couldn't really say, well, yeah, I don't believe that there's a God.
Yeah.
Well, is there, I mean, maybe there's either something you still like about the concept of a God, or else there's something you're afraid of if you come out and say, I don't think there's a God. Am I anywhere near the mark here?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, you always wonder, like, okay, if you're at work and you say, oh, I don't believe there's a God, what if, and I know that one of my bosses is very religious, so will that come back at me?
Yeah, well, that's the whole social thing. And, you know, I'm not quite sure what it is you're hoping will tell you, and there's no magic secret to suddenly not caring about actual consequences socially from saying out loud what you actually think when, you know, you're in a culture like the rest of us that's mostly dominated with people that don't agree with you.
I still couldn't say I don't care.
And honestly, you're not under any obligation to go around wearing, you know, a big atheist T-shirt and waving an atheist flag and shouting atheism, atheism, atheism at the top of your lungs. It's all right for you to be where you're at. There's, you know, I would be concerned if nobody was being open and activist about it, because I think it's important, but I certainly don't think that everybody has to make a big deal out of it.
Right. We're here saying there's no God, so you don't have to.
And are you looking for a clincher from us that would like get you the rest of the way?
I really don't. I mean, it just feels like sometimes I'm like the only one who like that I know of that, because everyone I know is either definitely one way or just the other, and I really don't. I don't ever talk to someone who's actually in that place where there's still questions. It sometimes feels like you're the only one that kind of.
Yeah. Well, my questioning lasted about 2 days. So. I'm sorry, but then it took me until my mid-20s to get to those 2 days. So, I still feel like an idiot for hanging on that long. I don't know. It's different for different people. We're certainly not going to judge you when you feel comfortable saying, what you think one way or the other. Then do that, and that's cool.
Or,
That's really okay.
If you decide that there is a God and you're a theist, then, like I said, lots of smart people are still there. We don't agree, but we're just two dudes on TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, cool. Thanks for taking my call.
All right. Thanks for calling.
Thanks for calling, Diane, and good luck.
Thanks.
We have Bill in Howell, New Jersey. Hello, Bill.
Hey, Jeff and Russell. How are you?
Hi, Bill.
You guys are more than just two dudes on TV. You know that.
Nope.
Not really, no.
We're two dudes on TV. That's a scientific fact.
I consider you great religious healers.
Oh, good grief.
Well, you've healed me.
Can we please not go from religion to rationalist atheism and then off in the other direction of putting atheists on pedestals and stuff? We don't need that. We don't need that either.
Whether you think you're on a pedestal or not, you guys are instrumental in my the curing of my religious infection.
Okay,
happy to hear that.
You hear that, Daryl Ray?
Yeah, right. I think I speak for a lot of people. I just heard Jeff say that he was in his mid-20s and he feels embarrassed for hanging on that long. It took me to my mid-30s, and my question to you guys is, what have you incurred when you've changed? What problems have you incurred when you changed your belief? Because it's caused a lot of problems for me, and I was wondering how you dealt with them.
Well, if you were going to ask, as it says on the screen, when we became atheists, Jeff, my answer is really boring. My parents were both basically not believers.
Okay.
So, I always like to bring that up because a lot of theists say that atheists have father issues. There are like a surprising number of books and radio programs where they say, oh, well, atheists are just rebelling against God because God is a father figure and they all hate their fathers. My father is awesome. He's a physicist and he's a staunch atheist, and I've never had any family problems really, except for certain members of my extended family.
I had
no problems there.
I had a great relationship with my in-laws. They've really helped us out a lot in our marriage.
Mm-hmm.
They've been very generous to us, and now that my belief has changed, the relationship is almost non-existent. I'm the one that's changed in the relationship. It's difficult to talk to my wife about this. I also have two children that I've raised one way already that I now, am in a position where I have to change what I've taught them. So, I don't know, Jeff, have you had any experience in that area?
My parents met as missionaries in Cuba before Castro came to power.
Wow.
So the religiosity in my family goes back really far and is really deep. When I was growing up, they both had what I would call legitimate careers in business or education, but once my brothers and I were grown up and out of the house, they went right back to seminary and got their religion licenses and became ministers.